helps people come together. We've seen this in the civil rights movement. Frederick Douglass once called free expression the great moral renovator of our society. He said, "Slavery cannot tolerate free speech." Civil rights leaders argued time and again that their protests were a protected form of expression, and one noted that nearly all of the cases involving the civil rights movement were decided on First Amendment grounds. We've seen this globally too, where the ability to speak freely has been central to the fight for democracy worldwide. The most repressive societies have always restricted speech the most, and when people are finally able to speak, they often use their voice to call for change. In this year alone, people have used their voices to end multiple long-running dictatorships in northern Africa, and we're already starting to hear from people whose voices had been excluded just because they were women or because they believed in democracy. Now, our idea of free expression has become much broader over even the last 100 years. Many Americans know about the Enlightenment history and how we enshrined the First Amendment into our Constitution, but fewer know just how dramatically our cultural norms and legal protections have expanded, even in recent history. The first Supreme Court case to seriously consider free speech in the First Amendment was in 1919. Schenck versus the United States. And back then, the First Amendment only applied to the federal government, so states could, and often did, restrict your right to speak. Our ability to call out things that we felt were wrong also used to be a lot more restricted. Libel laws used to impose damages if you said something negative about someone, even if it was true. The standard then shifted, so that way it was okay as long as you could prove that your critique was true. And we didn't get the broad free speech protections that we have now until the 1960s, when the Supreme Court ruled in opinions like New York Times versus Sullivan that you can criticize public figures as long as you're not doing so with actual malice